There are days when I don't sleep at night because I'm still afraid that something will happen to me.
Just 1 year ago, as Israel experienced its worst night of riots between Jews and Arabs in years, Mor Ganashvili was targeted by a horde of infuriated individuals as he returned home to Akko, a northern Israeli city considered a symbol of coexistence until then.
I still had Israeli flags attached to my car because it was less than 2 weeks after Independence Day. When I got about 50 meters from my house, I found myself in the middle of a battlefield with 200 terrorists standing in front of me. They were holding stones. Most of them were hooded. Some were shouting Allahu Akbar, and others were calling to slaughter Jews. They had blocked the road with barricades to check who was a Jew and who was an Arab. I had to get as near as possible to my house to escape them, but the route was in the way of the rioters, and I was hit by a flood of stones and whatever they had in their hands. I lost control of my car, and I crashed into a low stone wall after having hit one of the rioters. I realized at that moment that if I didn't get out of my car quickly, they were going to burn me alive inside. So I got out and tried to protect my face like this, but I kept getting hit by stones. I started to run, but they kept hitting me in the head with iron and wooden bars. One of them tripped me, and I fell on the ground, face down, and they kept hitting me, and that's when I blacked out.
When Mor wakes up, he's in an ambulance headed to the nearest emergency room. He's badly injured on the head, but he doesn't know yet that without the intervention of Qasim, an Arab resident of his neighborhood who protected him until help arrived, he would not have survived the lynching attempt. Since this terrible night of May 12, 2021, Mor, the miraculous survivor, has been living according to his recovery pace. In the last few weeks, at the Lowenstein Functional Rehabilitation Center in Ra'anana, north of Tel Aviv, the 30-year-old has been learning to walk again.
When I first arrived here, I thought I'd be in a wheelchair for another 5, 6, or 10 years, or even my whole life. But the medical team persisted, thank God, and they helped me to achieve results that I thought I would never be able to reach.
Between physiotherapy and ergotherapy sessions, Mor can count on the support of the medical team, but also on the support of his family, which has since moved out of Akko, while the trial for attempted murder is still underway.
30 people were arrested after the attack, but only 3 will be tried. They are the main suspects, and they'll have to pay for what they did, and so that it doesn't happen again.
At the same time that Mor was being lynched just outside his home, an Israeli Arab, Saeed Musa from Ramle, was being lynched live on television in Bat Yam, a suburb of Tel Aviv.
I was still in the hospital, and so was he when we spoke on the phone. I wished him a speedy recovery. Having experienced it myself, I can't stand it. It's awful. Even though Jews did it, they should be charged in the same way.
Following the intercommunal riots in May of 2021, which resulted in 3 dead, hundreds of injured, more than 2,000 people were arrested by Israeli security forces. 90% of them Arab Israeli citizens.